All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another Trailmakers video. Today, I figured I'd show off all of my blueprints that I've made. I've been playing this game now for about a month, I want to say. I've got like 60-something hours. Been really enjoying my time in Trailmakers. And, yeah, I've just got so much inspiration to do so many different things in this game, and it's hard to find the time to do all of it. But I'd figure I'd show off what I've managed so far in my relatively limited time in this game, considering how long it's been out and how many crazy and cool things people have made. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the blueprints. As you can see here, this is my pod racer that I made just the other day that I'm pretty happy with. A lot of fun, but I'll show that off more later. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning. First off, I've got my shotgun, which just has like a timing on it, so that way it can like burst fire. And we've got my Pioneers starting build, my starting shooter build. You can see I was very concerned with arrow. Obviously that's relatively unimportant on a slow build like this, but you know, I had some ideas. I had some decent ideas. I've got internal steering on this thing, so it can turn really fast. You can see the back wheels turn the opposite direction of the front wheels. That took me a little bit to learn. It took a moment to understand how to get the hinges all set up properly, but yeah, cute little build. Next up, I wanted to mess around with a long vehicle. Now keep in mind this is also for my Pioneers, so I didn't even have trailer hinges at the time. And this is meant to be like a bus to move my the froggets around, and you know it's kind of goofy. I think it's pretty cute. I think it's a fun build. It does have some crazy physics sometimes, and I've definitely toned it down to be a lot more controllable at this point. But yeah, this one was a fun little transport vehicle. I'm hoping in the future I'll be able to do some more and more advanced versions of these early builds. And I'd love to do like an evolution of this. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we'll see about that. Next up, we've got a boat, so let's go ahead and teleport into the water. I'm drowning. Give me a sec here. Here we go. So this is my first speedboat. If you want to see all my failed boats, I would highly recommend checking out my streams of Trailmakers. I've got quite a few of them at this point. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one. It's got some downforce in the back. It's got some big rudders as well. It rests a little bit high on the water thanks to the pontoons. And then I've got the motors a little bit lower in the water, just so that way they're guaranteed. I discovered a blueprint when I was playing Pioneers, and I found that the boat that they gave me had a tendency to pull its motors out of the water, and I wanted to mitigate that as much as possible. And I think this one does a pretty good job. It's got pretty good arrow lines as well, which I'm happy with. It's only got the one front-facing cannon, which is a little bit wonky. Not a super big fan of it. But as far as like a quick speedy boat for the Pioneers campaign goes, I'm really happy with this design. I think it turned out great. I guess while we're on the water, let's skip forward to one of my bigger builds. So I had the inspiration to make a ship in a bottle, and the first part of that process was making the ship. This is just a ridiculously huge build. You can see that it's running some internal motors just to keep it looking clean. You can see that that's part of the start of the bottle. And yeah, it's got functioning cannons. The sails turn, and the hardest part of this was getting the front to look good. It was a nightmare. The total build time on this build was like 20 hours. Not just this part, but like also the bottle, because I ran into some serious difficulties. But yeah, you can see I kind of metallized the front pointy part to make it look kind of like a blade, and then those triangular parts kind of look like teeth, so I gave it like a gold tooth. I thought that was kind of fun. And, yeah, I think the wood with the gold trim looks pretty good. I did buy the wood DLC for this, like a friggin' weirdo. And it's not even on this version. I gotta go fix that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Even just as a boat, I think it looks really good. You can see it took some damage there. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll get back on land, and I'll show off some more stuff in chronological order. This one has been something that's been spanning across pretty much my entire playtime. This build here. So yeah, it's been a big one. This was one of my, I would say this is my first functional attempt at a flying vehicle. Obviously, it's not particularly functional, but it does function. So it's got balloons for buoyancy, and I had recently learned about how you're supposed to have weight at the bottom of a vehicle for, like, a boat. And I'm like, well, maybe I could probably just apply that same concept in the air as well, couldn't I? So that's exactly what I did. You can see I've got a bunch of weight stacked at the bottom. I've got one hover, and then I've got this part that spins me up. That's how I generate enough lift. So we're not quite neutrally buoyant with just the balloons. But you can see that if I time with my raw engine, I can kind of move in the direction that I want to go. Obviously, I can drop myself lower by having this thing go. It's a pretty cursed vehicle. It can't turn. It's being subjected to torque that I wasn't able to figure out. It's scuffed as hell, but you know what? As a very first functional flying vehicle, I'm pretty happy with it because it's dumb and it was very limited with the resources. So, you know, when you're just learning with those early game minimal pieces, you kind of have to make do. And that's what I came up with for that. So, that's fun. That was a fun little vehicle. Next up, we've got some early work in progress hover mechanics. So this guy, the objective was to try and make a stable VTOL type engine using hover pads. I learned this mechanic or glitch or exploit, whatever you want to call it, early on, that you can influence hover pads using hinges, which is really fun. And you can see that I've got this hinge on top that's supposed to, like, push the thing in the direction that I want to go, but that mechanic never worked. So this one kind of ended up dead in the water. But I'd love to revisit this idea of a hover VTOL type engine. I think that would be a lot of fun. Oh, next up we've got another boat, so we'll jump out in the water once again. Let me do that. Before I sink to the bottom, we'll jump out. So this was the vehicle that I used to beat the second boss in Pioneers, in the Pioneers campaign. So we've got a couple smart cannons, we've got a right click, we've got a shield on there, and then I've got, once again, that central engine system I felt was pretty good. And this one's very much trying to maximize the amount of buoyancy since we've got a lot of weight. And you can see I've sunken in my engine for some more aerodynamics. I was really focused on trying to get those aerodynamics good. And I think I did a pretty good job. I learned pretty early on that pipes are actually able to float. Because one of my previous flying vehicles could float on the water. And I'm like, oh, that's probably from pipes. And that is the case. So yeah, very, very buoyant, fairly sturdy. It really struggles to get tipped over for the most part. And it definitely made some easy work of that boss. So yeah, definitely a fun build. I enjoyed that one. It'd be cool to do like a super-sized version of these. But honestly, I'm a little bit intimidated by complexity these days due to the way my ship project went. We hit a brick wall with it and don't really know what to do about that, but we'll get back to that later. Next up, we've got a very basic mining bot. It's fun. It's cute. I went with 6 wheels, but you can see it's still not very stable. It's a little bit too back heavy. But once again, you can see my obsession with aerodynamics. All the angular shaping going on. probably need to work on that a bit. I think I should work on just forming the vehicle to be functional before I worry about it going fast at all, especially with my minimal engine usage there. Next up, I needed a vehicle that could kind of go through shallow water, and I made this cool monster truck. I wanted to mess around with suspension, and I wanted to mess around with that was pretty much it. I wanted to see how far I could push suspension. So you can see that I've got some hinges set up, and they're both set up on this rotating suspension system that allows me to like spin my cab. It's very janky and weird, but it allows me to basically always flip over when needed. So it's it's driving really well right now, but as soon as it starts like bumping into rocks and stuff, the hinges of the wheels get a little bit offset, and yeah, it can start to break pretty badly, but so far it's doing surprisingly well. Let's see if I can break it a bit on this rock. No, it's still running good. Nice. Well, there you go. That's kind of my early monster truck from Pioneers. I like it. I think it's cool. But definitely need to make something even bigger and even crazier. Oh man. So yeah, I wanted to make, once again, build corrupt. That's too bad. I don't know how that happens. Let me know if you know a way to fix that. But that's a shame. Another helicopter plane hybrid thing that I was making. Spent a lot of time on that and never quite got it working. But yeah, next up, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So, I was playing with my friends, and I wanted to do a monowheel. I love monowheel vehicles. Ever since Kirby Air Ride, those are some of the best monowheel bike designs ever. They're so freaking cool. I kind of wanted to do my own take on one. And yeah, we were playing Dethrone, so I wanted a way to get away from my opponents quickly, and my solution was to make it so I can jump. And yeah, it jumps pretty good. And you can see the gyros. This is also my first experience using gyros, and it was hell trying to figure them out, because I didn't realize you needed them in, like, multiple axis directions with something like this, but, yeah, it works pretty well. Once again, I got some, like, janky aero going on, but I'm trying my best, and you can see that it goes pretty fast, too. This thing is kind of a beast. I really, really enjoy driving this thing, because it's super weird. Initially, I was using wheels, and I wasn't happy with the movement or the traction, and I ended up transferring over to a couple of the light tracks, and those guys work awesome. So if we stop here, you can see I've just got these 2 Lynx tracks here, and yeah, I just have like a set of suspensions and pistons going up, so that way I can make the big jump. I've got my motors kind of scattered around up top here, trying to keep the aero decent, but I bet if I click the button, I see some bad aero here. Once again, this is earlier on when I was still very, very new. I'm still pretty new, but I don't think I'd be making that mistake again. At least I hope not. And yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a good way to beat aero in a situation like this, so if there is, let me know, because yeah, pistons are really cool, but I don't understand all of the aerodynamic tricks. Like, if I get all of these green, and then I don't know. So, like, when it's shrunk down like this, are those aerodynamic arrows gone because these are in their place? Or is it like a calculation that happens exclusively with the build menu? That's what I'm curious about. If you got an answer for me there, please feel free to let me know. Yeah. So yeah, this thing, the monowheel jumper, very fun, very cool. I like this guy. That's a good build. Up next, we've got another Dethrone vehicle that I made. So we did an evolution-based run of Dethrone, where we had 5 minutes to start off with a vehicle, and we increased the amount of power cores and time that we had to build each round. And this was what I ended off with. So I went with extreme downforce, so that way I could keep the vehicle on the ground, because I've got all these these thrusters that I ended up with. And we've got some really crazy gyro steering. I went with truck wheels just because I felt like they were cool, and I realize now that probably like off-road or spike tires would have been better, but yeah, it's got kind of a formula style. I think it turned out pretty neat. It's a little basic, but it definitely got the job done. That was a fun round of Dethrone. I was way faster than everyone. And yeah, this thing's super fun to drive. That said, I am a little bit ashamed of my use of gyro in this thing. It feels borderline cheaty. Like being able to turn like this is silly. That is really silly. Let me know if there's like what are your opinions on gyro, because it seems to be super mixed. I meet a lot of people online who are like, you know, gyro's for noobs, gyro is cowardice, all that sort of thing. But like, it is fun, and it is really easy. So there is that. I could see like in like a dog fighting scenario, if you're doing some plane fighting, you know, you wouldn't want your opponent having gyro, because if you don't have it and they do, you're kind of out of luck at that point. So yeah, that's a bit. Oh hey, 3-pointer! I got an achievement for that. Nice. But yeah, fun vehicle, very fun vehicle. Let's go ahead and bring up the next one. Ah, my shit bus flyer edition. Very nice. This one was very experimental. This was me trying to make a large flying blimp, and this is what I came up with. I wasn't really sure what to do for locomotion, so I've got these thrusters in the back, and then I wasn't really sure how to turn. But for those of you who are observant, you might have noticed that it can flap back and forth with a bunch of hinges. And I do have control over this thing. Despite how uncontrolled it looks, it goes where I want it to. It does so very slowly and very wibbly-wobbly. It's stupid. But boy, was it funny as hell to transfer some frogs around in this thing. And it does give me some like ideas for like a big sky snake. I think that would be really cool to do some sort of big sky snake in the future. I don't know how the hell I would do that. Obviously, I'm gonna need like a better slithering mechanism to go through the air. And I really like sails. I think sails look so cool in this game. And they seem kind of bad for water. So I'm thinking I'll probably do some ornithopters in the future. I think that would be a lot of fun. And the way I get down, by the way, is I just release the air from the balloons, which is probably not the best method, but you know, you just inflate them at the tail end, and you don't die generally. It's good enough. But yeah, you can see made some decent ground. Managed to get over to the robot fighting arena. Look at that. Look at that. And a clean landing. See, it's good. It's a decent vehicle. Ooh, what's this guy? I don't remember. Oh, I remember now. So this was my first foray into using logic. So this thing is using, let's see. It's the seat. Is this one using logic? I could have swore it's using logic. We got some Bulldog engines. Maybe it's not using logic? I definitely had an earlier version that was utilizing logic, but you can see that the hinges automatically go to a specific hold position. That was my first time experimenting with that. And I basically wanted to make a bigger, more maneuverable fighting vehicle. And I would say I achieved that. We've got some thrusters on the side to help with steering. And it's a little bit raised off the ground, so that way it can deal with, like, shallow water and various obstacles. Obviously not great. The suspension's a little fucky, but it's decent for pioneers. It does its job. Not bad. Let's see, what else have we got here? Ah, here we go. So we've got another early version of my helicopter. So yeah, I was trying really hard to make a gyroless helicopter. And I just wanted it so that way I could go around and collect minerals really quickly, or resources. And it never quite worked out. But I think now that if I revisit this thing, I'll have a much better shot at making this thing good. So for this one, I think we should take a look at the build here. So you can see the center of mass is a little bit back. And all this stuff is like way far forward, so I think center of mass needs to go up a little bit, and these need to come back and try to center them all. But if you're the aero engineer in my comment section, please talk my ear off about it. Tell me where these are supposed to go. I'd love to know. But yeah, basically these guys are reverse from one another, and I don't know what I did with this tail prop. This is like an earlier, or just like a very non-functional version. But it's cute. And then I wanted to make a super bare bones drone just to try and learn some fundamentals. And we've got this thing here, this incredibly cursed little quadcopter, which needs some love at this point, that's for certain. I think it does fly pretty okay. You can see that depending on what position I press, the different jets will go off and give me the ability to aim myself. This thing is technically flyable and slightly self-righting, so it's definitely we're getting in the right direction here for this stuff. But yeah, for anyone still watching, thank you very much. I know I'm being like a little kid showing off my Legos, but I've been having so much fun with Trailmakers, and the community has been really cool, so figured now would be a good time to do like a little video like this. Be fun to show off what I've created and where I plan on going with the game. And you can see we've got some OR logic gates here that are all tied to individual button presses. Depending on what button I'm pressing, these different things will activate. Wait, what are these ones tied to? Weird. It was a while ago that I set this up, so I don't remember perfectly. But it works. It works pretty okay. I'll have to update it at some point. Yeah, and then we've got my Pioneer's blimp. So this guy is pretty wacky. I was trying really hard to make a blimp, and this blimp took me on a journey. I was trying to make it so it would stay perfectly level all the time, and I couldn't figure out the logic for the life of me. So it was a real struggle to try and understand what the hell I was missing, and I ended up starting my own little server and hoping someone with some knowledge would come in. I got griefed with some like lag creator people, and I'm like, okay, I gotta find a server. So what I did is I looked up some servers, and I'm like, what server is going to be the most likely to have someone to help me? And I found one that was called Chill and Build, and I'm like, you know what? Those are the people. Those are the people that are gonna fucking know and maybe be willing to help. And it turns out that's exactly the case. So I ended up joining a random server. The first person that I asked, Disco Beast, ended up helping me out. And they spent like 2 or 3 hours just showing me how to build a PID, a PID system, which is basically a crazy math equation that helps equalize and stabilize builds. And it's like a thing in real life that people use, and it's transferred into the game. It's so freaking cool. I don't have a perfect understanding of it, but I do have a functioning model here, and you can see that we've got this early version, and then we've got this fully functional version that's all stacked up. And basically what it does, to put it really simply, is it gets your angle, and then it stores that angle, and then it throws outputs to your various parts to essentially keep it stable. It's really weird. I need to use it more because I've only used it in my blimp. So we're gonna play around with that, and I want to fully understand it, because that's the thing is, you know, we made this thing, and I still don't have a perfect understanding of it. And there's a couple of things that was thrown at me as well by Disco Beast. We really hit it off. He threw this at me, which is a mortar rangefinder, which is cool as hell, and a little terrifying, but yeah, look at that. Look at the way it like auto range finds. That's crazy. I have no idea how it works, but I'm sure there's some very goofy things that can be done with it. And then he also threw his auto turret at me, which is extremely cool. This thing will auto aim at oh, I think I broke it by turning it myself. But yeah, it'll auto aim at things and fire periodically, and it's absolutely insane. So I'll definitely have to make a tank with this at some point. Or maybe like a flying turret or something. I'd love to have like multiple of these that I could like deploy in different places. That would be really cool. I think there's some fun stuff to do there. And yeah, then Disco Beast asked me, what are your projects looking like? And that's when this thing happened. I don't even know if this is gonna load. It might be the absolute apex of of my computer. And that's okay, maybe I can make it happen. Yes, it happened. Okay, sweet. So yeah, I've been having this thing crashing on me over and over, and I can't even progress on it anymore. So I need some builder experts to help me out here. So I have Complexity mod downloaded and all that, but I can't really get past 1400 with this thing. You can see I'm trying to make a ship in a bottle. It was originally round, but now I've had to make it square just to save on pieces, because it's huge. This is a huge ship to put in a bottle. My endgame objective is to have this ship in the bottle and have it where the bottle can roll around, and then when I fire the cannons, it'll have a bunch of breakaways, and it'll shoot the glass, and then it'll be able to go out and onto the ocean. I think that would be really fun and cool. But yeah, I'm really struggling with this part. So if there's any master builders out there who want to give me a hand with adjusting my design so that way I can run it, that'd be great. If I could get it under 700 complexity, that'd be amazing, but I have a feeling that my ship is too big. So, you know, I would definitely settle for just like a bottle design that will not take so much complexity. But yeah, I'd love to even have like a cork, and I could throw a bunch of stuff in there. And I want to rig like a stand for it where it can roll around with the bottle. And yeah, I think it's a really cool project. But this is like 20 hours of my time, of my like 68 hours or so. It's been a big build. It's been a lot of fun. It's a unique... This game is a unique creative outlet for me. Because normally when I'm doing something artistic, it's... it tends to be very heavily function-focused. And I would say that this is almost purely form. And it's been a really fun process, kind of, and meditative as well, making something like this. So yeah, that's cool. Next up, we've got a blimp that actually has the logic. So we'll go ahead and throw this guy in, and when I hit spacebar, we go up, and it'll start to stabilize. Now, the thing about this version is this is the version from my campaign, and it's actually just a PI, not a PID. So it's lacking the memory that is required to keep it perfectly stable. If it had that memory, it would be perfectly stable all the time. And you can see it's got all the passenger seats that I've been using. It's got the miners. It's got jets that I can fire to go a little faster. And it's even got this hinge system to pick up very specific blocks from the Pioneer campaign. Now, I think I'm gonna have to change this system because it's pretty dumb and bad, and it's doing some crazy stuff because it's not working well. So if you guys have any good ideas for like a picker-upper type shape with some hinges, let me know. Because obviously this one's scuffed as hell to an extreme degree. Alright. So next up, let's see what else we've got kicking around in here. Oh, we've got the hover gatherer. This thing is ass, dude. Okay, so I was trying to make a multi, I guess like a semi-aquatic, semi-ground-based boat that would function on both. And the intent was for it to go around and gather packages. However, it just controlled so bad that I basically did a complete revamp on it. And I guess we'll skip ahead in the timeline and show off the revamp. So I made a hover spinner, and basically this is a hover machine that doesn't have to move to stay afloat. So normally hover machines have the problem of you need to go a minimum of 30 kilometers per hour in order for the hover material to stay above the water. So what I did is I have the hover pad spinning. So the spinners are going in opposite directions, so that way I'm not spinning out of control. We've got some super basic steering, and I've got some logic that forces the spinners to spin indefinitely, and then I can invert the turning to give me this quick turn, because otherwise the turning is really bad because of the torque basically overpowering. Now this steering doesn't come without its problems. Obviously, it's extremely touchy, and it's not very reactive either. Like sometimes I'll just put in an input and it won't go. So I'm not sure if there's a better solution for this, but this was kind of my solution. I think that something like this could be really interesting to scale up, and I ended up using this thing as my my whatchamacallit, and it can, what's the button to, is it 1 and 2? Yeah, there we go. So you can see I can aim that up and down, so that way I can grab the package and then keep it above me, sort of thing. And yeah, it's a very basic vehicle to do one singular quest in the Pioneers campaign. But it's an interesting proof of concept, and I'm really happy with it. I think it's a lot of cool, or a lot of fun, not a lot of cool. That's doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's jump over here, and we'll take a look at the next vehicle. Ah, so I was sharing with Disco Beast the idea of a vehicle that I saw on the subreddit called the Aurora, or what's it? Was it the... I don't remember exactly what it was called. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, that's fine too. The idea is it's using some sort of glitch to travel at immense speeds, and we wanted to replicate that. They managed to, in their server, they had managed to, the Disco Beast and Killa managed to make one that went Supersonic. I played around with it a bunch and broke it over and over and over again, just to try and understand it. And this is my recreation of it from memory. It is much worse. It's from the Pioneers campaign once again, because that's where a lot of my builds are right now. But I'll probably start doing more Sandbox and some of the other campaigns soon. But yeah, it controls. This version controls really well. It's honestly surprisingly balanced, and it looks cool too. So I like it. I like the way it plays. It's a lot of fun. And I'll go ahead and show off the method that is used for this. So it's a, I believe it's referred to as a split engine. So if we go down here, you can see that we've got these hinges, and we've got the hinges attached to these connectors, which goes up to these helicopter blades. So basically, these hinges are set at a specific angle. There's like an angle range that works, and if you go out of that range, it just breaks. I believe it's around like 45 to 55, around that range, I believe. And we've got max strength, and then we've got that attached to these wedges, and these wedges are attached to these hinges, which have no strength in them. So they don't really matter with these stats, other than the strength. So these things are pulling away, which is going to force the wings down. So they're still attached to those hinges, but it somehow generates rotational force, and that rotational force allows the propellers, or the propeller, yeah, I guess they're propeller pieces, to spin really fast. And then we've got aiming servos on the top, which give us that ability to turn. And we've also got our thing on a loose rotating servo, so that way we've got some sort of like offset, so that way it can actually steer. And then we've got these bottom modular wings that are specifically just for a bit of additional starting lift, I believe. And yeah, we're just trying to make it as lightweight as possible, so I'm using masts and I'm using flat connectors, and I'm sure that there's significantly better versions of this build because I've seen them and used them. So yeah, definitely, I think there might even be a version on the workshop, so we'll have to go check that out at some point if you'd like to see that. But yeah, that's fun. And then I decided to do some pod racing with some friends. And this was my earliest pod racer idea, so I wanted to give myself some sort of handicap, because I've got more playtime than my friends in this game. So I wanted to have my engines, my hover engines, on top of each other. So I wanted to have the two engines hovering between each other. And that didn't work at all. You can see it's really quite bad. Yeah. it could be a lot better. So yeah, this was like my earliest idea. It did not work out. And I eventually, after much evolution, settled on this, which ended up being way overpowered and very fast. So this thing is absolutely beastly. It looks really cool, and it's fun as hell. I'm really happy with it. If you're interested in seeing the evolution of this thing, I do have a video on my channel already. You can go and check that out. And yeah, I guess there's only one real thing that makes it super unique. I'll go ahead and show it off. So obviously this thing is loaded to the brim with gyros. We've got a gyro stabilizer here. We've got a gyro back here. There's there should be like a gyro steering somewhere around here. But yeah, it's oh, there's another one. There's my gyro steering way up at the front. And yeah, we've got a NOR gate back here. And basically what that's doing is it's applying a positive charge and a negative charge, so there's two of them, to each of these modular jets, which basically pushes them inward. And you can see that obviously they're creating a ton of aerodynamic drag, but when they're pressed in like this, I really hope they don't create aerodynamic drag. I'm not sure if they do, but I know when I bring them out, they help me with my turning immensely at speed. So that's really cool and fun. And yeah, this is probably my favorite build to date. Mostly just because of how freaking cool it is. It's not very good, but it is a lot of fun. So yeah, that's that. And oh, here let's jump back over here. And I guess we've got one last build to show. This is probably the other build that I have the most fun with. So I jumped on with my buddy Super Hobbit one night. He was streaming. He wanted to, or I asked him to close out the night with some Trailmakers, and he said he wanted to make a skateboard, and I thought that was a brilliant idea. So I made my own skateboard along with him, and yeah, this has been tinkered and tweaked with a whole bunch, and it's a lot of fun to drive. Super cool. And I want to add more tricks to it, because right now it can kickflip, it can wheelie, or manual, I suppose. It can ollie, and yeah, I want it to do more. I'd love to like do some grinds with it. I'd love to do like a stall on like a side of a half pipe. I think that would be really cool. And I want to keep it like its original shape as much as possible. I want it to look like a skateboard. So, like I'm really happy with the shaping on this one. I managed to get a pretty decent looking paint on it. I'm still very bad at decal work, as you can tell. I'd love to get like a little bit of a wood rimming going along the top, rather than it being all like deck tape like it currently is. But yeah, this is one of my favorite builds. It uses a couple of gyros, so there's one there and one there, and there should be oh wait, no, I think this is the one. So yeah, this guy can be turned off and on with left click. And when I shut it off, or when I turn it on, it allows me to make a roll easier. So this is with it off, so it's terrible, and then this is with it on, so it's a fair bit better. And yeah, I basically messing with gyros was the name of the game with this one. I think it turned out pretty cool. There's another gyro there, and obviously we've got this really nice lean effect with the hinges, and the front wheel does turn, because this thing is like a cross between a monster truck. It's like if somebody made a skateboard monster truck. That's kind of the idea. And I tried to avoid, like, I didn't want to add rockets or anything. It's obviously it's got motors, and it's using the monster truck tires, so that way it's all terrain. I was rocking the racing tires, which look gorgeous on it. It looks so one-to-one. But, yeah. It's even got kind of like the steel truck design. It's not as, like, bulky as a truck looks. But, once again, we're using the pistons there to get the jump effect. And, yeah. This is probably my magnum opus of a build. To the point where I'd be willing to share this one online. But before I do, I'd love to add a couple more tricks. And long-term, my long-term Trailmakers objective is to create a mech that can ride this. I think it would be super cool to have a mech do a kickflip. I think that would be sick. Whether it's going to be a separate entire entity, and I have to spawn them in separately, or it can be like part of the same build. I think either one of those would be really, really cool. But yeah, that's me showing off my Legos, me a grown adult, you also maybe, hopefully a grown adult, watching me play goofy Lego video game. Not Lego, TM. But yeah, it's fun. Good times. I really enjoy this game, and I hope you really enjoyed seeing all of my creations. And yeah, let me know what you'd like to see next, because I want to make one of everything. That is really my objective, is to experience creating everything I can. I think it would be so fun to go through all the different wacky things that can be made in this game. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. If you want more Trailmakers content, please make sure you let me know. Subscribe so that way I can see that there are Trailmakers people that are interested, because you know it's one of those things where I can happily play this game by myself, but if I can show it to my community and share it with you, that just makes me even happier. Alrighty, folks. Thank you all for watching. Catch you next time. And that's it for me. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.